Hello viewers, welcome to my YouTube channel Curiosity Rocks. And it's been a couple of weeks now since the finale episode of Loki Series 1, and I've had a lot of time to calm down and process. I get extremely passionate when I watch shows, and my first response to actually seeing episode 6 was quite excitable, as some of you probably witnessed on Twitter. Well, now I've had time to calm down, to process, to sort of reassess my relationship with the show. Thanks to a lot of fans and for all their Mobius and Lokius art especially. Thank you to all the fandom who've helped me calm down and process. And also to the parts of the fandom who did a really cathartic thread as well, as basically a thread always saying, oh wow, didn't Marvel was a fantastic when they did that gay kiss between Mobius and Loki. It was all pretending. That was really cathartic actually. It's really helpful that we all pretended of what did happen, like if Disney weren't homophobes. So that helped actually to know that other people felt the same. So I have had time to calm down, and also had time to do a couple of more artworks. So I did an artwork on the evening, as you've just seen them, because I put them at the start of the video. I did an artwork on the evening that I watched it. I didn't watch it until Thursday because I get really built up. I usually watch Doctor Who finales on finale day, but I got really built up about it, and so I couldn't deal but I managed to watch it, and then I got a bit volcano-y, but then I produced a couple of drawings to get my feelings out, and then I had a headcanon from another fan who had this really cute idea that Loki, when he's with Mobius and when they touch, the part that is touched by Mobius on Loki, it turns blue because he feels so comfortable he can be his Jotunheim self. But the idea was that he doesn't really understand why this happens, but Sylvie does, and she teases him about it. So I did sort of a beach scene. Because when I get my art ideas in my head, they just flash up as completed pieces in my head, like in my mind's art gallery, and it came out as a beach scene, so I did that. And then I did a 18+ adults only fans headcanon picture, and then I'm working on a safer work picture. I'm working on a little mini series. That's the first one in my little mini series that I'm doing. That's what I'm working on at the moment. So I have quite a lot of ideas for Lucas, but I also have some Witcher stuff to do, and also some Doctor Who stuff to do, because I have Doctor Who portrait of John Bishop and Jacob to welcome them, because that's what I like to do with TV shows. I like to draw the actors, and then that's sort of like my love greeting and my way of welcoming them into the fandom. So I've got tons. I've actually not got artist block at the moment. I've got a huge list of things to do. So yeah, so that is what I'm working on Loki wise. So these are the notes I made. I will show these notes at the end, and I'm just going to show you a preview because I've opened this since not looking at it for a couple of weeks, and it just made me really laugh. And this does have a swear word on it, and it's "Where's the fucking jet ski?" So you can see how passionate I got. So let's go through the notes. Loki, Series 1, Episode 6, for all time, always, previously on Marvel titles. And then we had the quotes from the movies came on. But then we had quotes of real people saying real things. I was kind of intensely uncomfortable because I was having a bit of an anxiety thing at the time. I'm not sure I liked having the real life events from our Earth put into the program, because it just scares me, because I already have a past of being delusional about sci-fi and fantasy and thinking it's real, and having the real quotes from the real people put into the show, into the Loki finale, just made me anxious. So I didn't really like that. But then we've got I think it was Carl Sagan, and he said, "We think of time as one-way motion." And I thought, are they really doing the wibbly wobbly timey-wimey thing? Because I know some people are saying, oh, don't be silly, of course it's not Doctor Who, it's not like Doctor Who stuff. They do use a lot of things from Doctor Who for people to say it's nothing like Doctor Who. And then we had Neil Armstrong, One Small Step for Man, Greta Thunberg, How Dare They? And then the space visuals while the voices were talking was like very like Doctor Who. They had a rock and it looks a bit like a pelvis, and it's kind of like the Jodie's titles where it looks like a rocky pelvis and we've travelled through it like we're being born, and that kind of reminded me of Jodie's theme visuals. And then there's like a TARDIS vortexy type of visual, and then there's Malala is my dream, and Nelson Mandela, we have fought for the right to experience peace, and there's various music, and then there's a woman saying motivated by women throughout the world, and then vision is mixed in with this, which is a bit disorientating because these are real people from our Earth, but how much of the MCU is based about our Earth? And it's just mixing it up a bit. I suppose that's the disorientation of the timelines being all mixed up. So I suppose it's kind of clever in a way, but they had vision. What is grief if not love persevering? Then Maya Angelou, I will rise. Then Sylvie says to Loki, open your eyes, and they're on and then we see the rock that looks a bit similar to the rock in the current Doctor Who titles. And then we have the theme music. And then there's this music in space around the mansion. They arrive at the front door. And Sylvie says, aren't you going to tell me not to get the door in? And Loki says, never made any difference. So they go to this big house, and Sylvie's a bit afraid. But then the door opens itself, and we see these big guard statues, and then there's a mega jump scare. They're standing in the hall, and Miss Mince is all like, hey y'all! And she's like, welcome to the Citadel at the end of time. Congratulations, you all had an awful long journey to get here. He's impressed. Then Sylvie's like, who's impressed? He who remains. And then she's like, oh, who is he who remains? And she said he's been making a few creative adjustments and he's worked it all out so we can reinsert both of you back into the timeline. So that's his offer to Sylvie and Loki, is that he can just put them back in the timeline right where they were, and Sylvie can go home, and the TVA can keep doing what they're doing. So, or the other option is that they take over from this, from the man. He's just the man who remains, and that they run the TVA how they see fit. So that's the option. What I was a lot disappointed about with this episode is most of it's just telling and not showing. It's just talk. A lot of talking. Now, what I would have preferred was if the mansion, when they get in, it was like a puzzle mansion, and they have to work through these puzzles, and that's how they get more information, rather than just sitting at somebody's desk and just listening, because that was so boring. But anyway, let's go back to the notes. So then we're back with the TVA, and Mobius is coming based on Ravana. And the bit with Mobius and Red's there, they talk and says, "I can't be in for nothing. That's why I had to prune you." And she tries to call B-15 Hunter to office, but the B-15 has taken some of the guards, and they've gone to Fremont, Ohio in 2018, and they found that Ravonna Renslayer is a headmistress in a school, and a B-15 is telling the guards what's really happening. And then we've got He Who Remains man, and he said, "You're the flea on the back of a dragon." And Loki's, "You lost, we found you." And the man shows them the script, and he's like, "I've seen it all, I know it all, and I know what you're going to say." And that reminds me of the Doctor Who episode Blink, where the 10th Doctor has the script of what Sally Sparrow is going to say. So again, another Doctor Who idea. And then the man says to Sylvie, "Do you think you're capable of trusting anyone at all?" Because Sylvie's like, "No, that's a lie, that's a lie, that's a lie, that's not true, that's a lie." Like, and then we cut between Sylvie and Loki and Mobius at the TVA, and Mobius is threatening to tell the whole TVA the truth. And he says, I've seen the horror waiting for people to get pruned. There's nothing, my own Western impressions about. There's nothing necessary about that. They didn't prune the timeline. Renslayer thinks there would be chaos, and Mobius thinks there would be free will. And then Moana says, "Only one person gets free will, the one in charge." And I put in brackets Disney. And Mobius says, "Friends across time," speech to her. And Renslayer's there, "Raise up your questions of faith and turn to these variants." And she kicks down Mobius. And Mobius says, "Where are you going?" "To find free will." So that's Ravonna Renslayer out of the finale episode. So she's off to find free will. So, and then we're in the He Who Remains is opposite again, and I was just so bored. And he talks about how there was that he found a parallel universe, and there's all those versions of him, and they worked together for a bit, and then there was a big war between all of them. And then it says the first variant encountered a creature created from all the tears in reality, capable of consuming time and space itself. And that reminds me of the Weeping Angels, but the creature is Alioth. And so in this multiversal war, Alioth was weaponized, and then he who remains isolated his timeline and created the TVA to manage the flow of time, and he's afraid of his own variants. So the two options are Loki and Sylvie kill he who remains and destroy all his stuff, so which creates the multiverse. Infinite. Or you run the TVA and keep things as it is. So he's sort of doing a Charlie and the Chocolate Factory thing, where he's off, they've gone on this big journey and they're getting offered the prize. But then there's a rumbling and it's like, oh, and I don't think he expects it. It's like, oh. It says, we just crossed the threshold, and I've seen the theory that is Wanda doing what she did in WandaVision, and that was Wanda doing that bit. So possibly because they did create Vision before, and then the timeline is branching, and then there's a great big fight. And then that's when my notes dissolve into swearing, because we had the Sylvie and Loki kiss. And I was really angry about that, because visually, to all the homophobes, obviously to us, we know they're bi and they're perfectly okay for them to kiss, but to the homophobes, they just see it on surface value. All they're seeing on surface value is a man and a woman kissing, which is nothing they haven't seen before in the MCU, and that in itself is not groundbreaking or different. And it didn't even seem to naturally flow into the episode. It just seemed tacked on and forced. It didn't seem natural so that she didn't need to kiss him, just pushed him through the door. It just didn't work. It just didn't seem. And then, because they could have been groundbreaking, and this could have been their moment for Loki and Mobius to kiss, but they did get that hug. But it's just when Disney always saying, oh, it's not the right time, it's not the right time. Oh, we've got to think about China. Why do we have to think about China? Why do we have to please bigots? It doesn't make any sense at all. We've got to think about them. We've got to think about all the money. We've got to put profits before people. So if we please all the bigots, we've got to give China all this careful stuff to not offend them. And what does China give? Is a global pandemic. And no. These countries that oppress their people, and then Disney and corporations so bothered about not giving them the gay stuff. They might get offended. Fuck that. And it makes me so angry, and that's why it made me so angry, because it could have been their chance, but still no. I just hope that Sam Bucky get to be official, seeing as they sort of pretty much nailed it in their TV show. But that's so frustrating. So yeah, my notes from this point on are just swearing. I don't have any more notes. And then Loki, he gets pushed through the TVA door and he's like, I'm in the new TVA. And then he goes to find Mobius, and Mobius doesn't even know who he is. And it's like, no! And they didn't even show a jet ski. They didn't even show they didn't even have a jet ski moment. And then somebody reminded me they're playing the long game because we are getting another series. But it's like, oh my gosh! So I really enjoyed. I did really enjoy this series. Like, even though it borrowed a lot from Doctor Who, I think it was good that it borrowed a lot from Doctor Who because it shows. And Kate Herron, I think, as we're looking for a new show, Doctor Who showrunner, she'd be a good pick. So, could be interesting because then at least she'd get to have gay couples, and she'd get to create gay storylines, and we'd actually be able to have gay kisses on screen, like we have in Doctor Who. We've had in Doctor Who since 2005. It's like, come on, catch up, Marvel. What are you? So she would get that freedom. So that would be very interesting. And also, maybe she could play Tessa Thompson as the 14th Doctor, please. I would appreciate that very much. Well, so yeah, I have no FFS, and then I have fucking shite, fuck you Disney, and then actually put a heart under my exclamation point. It says, well, I didn't write a fucking heart. And then I got, where's the fucking jet ski? And that's it. And yeah, it just ends on where's the fucking jet ski. So those were my notes. And then there was a volcano on Twitter. So overall, I did enjoy the series. I thought the finale was a letdown, but I'm glad that I enjoyed at least 5 out of 6 of the episodes. So, and we did get a beautiful hug between Loki and Mobius, and they had a beautiful bond, I thought. And Sylvie, I don't hate on Sylvie. I really think she's cool, and I do appreciate her and her story, and that she's sort of like the Doctor, and that she ran away and has been to 1,000 different worlds and stuff. She's had this sort of life as the Doctor. So I thought that's interesting. The Man Who Remains was a big letdown because he just sat behind his desk and yabbed on for ages. And it could have been a puzzle house. That because they did that on Classic Who with John Pertwee and Bilal, and they did Puzzle House, and they had to, and they weren't big puzzles. It just had to, here's a chessboard floor, which square you're gonna land on. They could have had Puzzle House and had the exposition broken up between the puzzles instead of just going and sitting at a desk and just listening. So I'm very interested to see what they do with series 2, and I hope he gets to I like somebody's idea where he has 51st dates with Mobius. I thought that was a really cute idea. That would be cute. But I really hope he gets to explore his relationship with Mobius in series 2, and that it gets to be gay. That would be amazing. So those are my thoughts on the Loki finale, episode 6. So here's the pictures of my notes, and I hope you have enjoyed this video, and thank you for watching. Yay!